Good evening, everybody. Today is December 11th, 2020. And in this video, we're going to talk about two of the main top news stories from earlier this morning that are connected by a rather unlikely character. The first story we'll talk about is Ellen DeGeneres, who is said to have tested positive for COVID-19, canceling the show until 2021. Also in the headlines today, actor Tommy "Tiny" Lister, dead at the age of 62, shortly after experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. Now, as we'll explore in this video, this man certainly did not die from just COVID-19. There's definitely something else going on here. Earlier this year, Ellen DeGeneres won the Carol Burnett Award, an award which debuted at last year's Golden Globes, and Ellen became only the second recipient of that award. We'll talk about how this connects us to Carol Burnett, as well as the release of the film Friday, which Tommy Lister was a part of. So let's get into this. We begin with looking at the numerology of Ellen DeGeneres. What stands out about Ellen is how she turned 62 years old earlier this year on the 26th day of the year. You may remember January 26th was pretty significant. That was the date of the death of Kobe Bryant, who would later be buried in Corona del Mar, California. So she turned 62 on the 26th day of the year. Her COVID diagnosis fell on a date with numerology of 62 and 26. This is perfect for a story about a lesbian, which sums to 62 and 26, known for voicing a fish named Dory, to get a disease, which is being called a plague, called the COVID virus. COVID also 26 like virus. All of these words, 62 and 26, just like the date numerology. Now this brings us to Tommy Lister, who has died at the age of 62. Tommy Lister's full name, as listed on Wikipedia, is Tommy Lister Jr., which sums to 62 in reduction. He died in the city of Marina del Rey, which also sums to 62 in reduction. We'll look more at this city in a little bit. But I want you to think about the last name Lister. Isn't it strange that just yesterday, the media published this article about Ellen saying she could no longer get A-listers to show up on her show? This was published just on December 9th, 2 days ago, one day before her diagnosis and the death of Tommy Lister. Now, as the headline shows, Lister was best known for playing Debo in the film Friday. Of course, his death making headlines today on a Friday. When we look at the film Friday, we see that it was released on the date April 26th. Remember, we just mentioned how Ellen DeGeneres got a Carol Burnett Award earlier this year. Well, look at Carol Burnett's birthday. The same day, April 26th. Measuring from her date of birth to the release of Friday was exactly 62 years, the age at which Tommy Lister's died. Ellen accepted her award at the Golden Globes, and think about how Golden Globes is connected to the number 77. Its initials, GG, G the seventh letter, 77. The 77th Golden Globes were held within the first week of 2020. 77 equals 2020. Now, when we look at Ellen's birthday, we see that she was born in the year 58. That's the same year as Tommy Lister. These two were born 149 days apart. The name Carol Burnett sums to 149. So does the number 77. Remember, it was the 77th Golden Globes, as I'll show here. Oops. The 77th Golden Globes where Ellen accepted her award. Now check out how 77 also equals 175. So does Carol Burnett in reverse, 175. Tommy Lister was born on June 24th, which is the 175th day of the year. That date also had 35 numerology, connecting us to 149 through prime numbers. Meanwhile, Ellen was born on a date with a life lesson number of 50, which is the reduction value of Carol Burnett. Burnett is currently 87 years old. That's the value of Ellen in reverse. So that alone is probably enough for a full video, but there's a few more alignments here I find that are pretty interesting. And this isn't just connected with Carol Burnett's regular name, but also her full name. So first of all, we mentioned that Tommy sums to 104, well, 1040 in English Extended. 104 is also the value of how his name is displayed on Wikipedia. And in the film Friday, he played the character Debo, which also equals 104. Ellen was born on a date with primary numerology of 104. Lister also died 100 weeks and 4 days after the first Carol Burnett Award. Notice how the Carol Burnett show sums to 104 in reverse reduction. This syncs up with Carol Burnett's full name, Carol Creighton Burnett, which sums to 104 in reduction. And by the way, we have the 2020 total solar eclipse coming up on the 14th. Think about how total solar eclipse equals 104, like the number 14. And the 10th is 4 days before that. We're talking about 2 news stories from the 10th. But back to the full gematria of Carol Creighton Burnett. Notice how her name is 248 in ordinal? Well, that's the value of Ellen DeGeneres in reverse. Furthermore, Ellen was diagnosed on 12/10, the same day as Tommy Lister's death. Carol Creighton Burnett equals 121, like 12/10 in reverse. And finally, 12/10 falls 319 days after Ellen's birthday. Carol Creighton Burnett, 319 in the reverse alphabetic order. 319, by the way, a number we've associated with killing, 313 in Satanic Gematria, Freemasonic 319 in Jewish. Could be relevant. What I also want to point out is how Ellen DeGeneres sums to 130 in the alphabetic order and 248 reverse. Human Sacrifice is 130 and 248, also 67. But what really brings this together is the 13 and the 13. Ellen DeGeneres 13, Human Sacrifice 13 as well. Measuring from the birth date of Carol Burnett to the birthday of Tommy Lister gives us exactly 1,313 weeks. Now, if you multiply 13 times 13, you get 169. In the alphabetic order, this actor's name, Tommy Lister, equals 169. And he died exactly 169 days after his birthday. As I mentioned earlier, he died in the city of Marina del Rey, California. Well, Marina del Rey is a song, and it was released on 16/9. The 16th of September, Tommy Lister, 169. Now, if you measure from that date, the release of Marina del Rey, to the death of Tommy Lister in Marina del Rey, you get exactly 1,995 weeks. Well, that's cool, because the film Friday was released in the year 1995. Notice how the film had numerology of 144? The artist who released this song is George Strait, whose name sums to 144. And think about his last name, Strait, in regards to Ellen, who is not straight. COVID-19 sums to 67 and 68, which is the same as Ellen DeGeneres. So we shouldn't have been surprised that she was diagnosed with the virus. Also notice the 331 in Jewish Gematria. That's the 67th prime number. And 67, the 19th prime number. COVID-19. 19 squared is even 361. And Ellen Lee DeGeneres, her full name, summing to 361. Also notice how DeGeneres equals 82 in reverse. Ellen Lee DeGeneres, 82 reverse reduction. COVID, 82 reverse. Tommy Lister Jr., 82 reverse. Carol Burnet, her birth numerology, 82. Ellen's definitely into numerology. Just check out the fact that she started a record label called 1111 because she says she sees the number 1111 on the clock all the time, and that she found her first artist, Grayson, on the 11th, among other things. And think about the name Ellen. L, 11, L, like two L's, 1111. This is no coincidence. Ellen went to school at New Orleans, which sums to 126. This lines up with her January 26th or 126 birthday. This record label is called 1111, which sums to 126. And if you measure from the date it was founded, which was on May 26th of 2020. Sorry, I lost the... Here it is, May 26th, 2010. Measuring from that date to the date of her COVID diagnosis, not only is it 126 months, as we see here, but it's also 198 days after the anniversary. And 1111 is 198 in reverse. Also, if you multiply 11 times 11, you get a product of 121. Remember Carol Creighton Burnet summing to 121? This news making headlines on 1210, 121. There's also an astrological element to this as well, especially between Saturn and Venus. I want you to think more about this name, Ellen Lee. 3 times in this name, we get L, forwards or backwards, E-L. El is the ancient Hebrew deity that represents Saturn, the father of the gods. Ellen is in Aquarius, which is ruled by the planet Saturn. And Ellen equals 21 in reduction, just like the planet Saturn. This news story fell on the date leaving 21 days in the year. I also demonstrate how L upside down is 73, like the Kabbalah Gematria of Saturn. 73, the 21st prime number. So that's important too. But there's another Saturn riddle here. And this brings us to the Ellen DeGeneres show, which she currently hosts. First of all, notice how this show debuted on September 8th. The date written 908. In Gematria, Saturn equals 908. Using trigonal. But in the alphabetic order, Saturn equals 93. Not only was she diagnosed with coronavirus 900 weeks and 3 days after the debut of her show, but it was also 93 days after the anniversary. So these are the types of alignments that are totally undeniable when we get double alignments, 900 weeks, 3 days, and 93 days after the anniversary, 93, 93. Now, I don't have this in the post, but there's also a significant Venus riddle here, and this goes back to the Golden Globes part of this post. Remember how I mentioned GG, 77, Golden Globes, the 77th Golden Globes falling in the year 2020. 77, 2020. Well, notice how 77 equals 125 in ordinal. Remember, this was the reverse value of Carol Burnet, 175. Now, there's something called the magic square of Venus. And the magic square of Venus is a 7 by 7 square, shown here on the left side of your page. And in this magic square, this 7 by 7 magic square, see how 77 also equals 49? There are 49 total squares in this magic square, and every row and column sum to 175. So these are Venus numbers, 175 and 49. So we look at Carol Burnet and find out that she's a Taurus, which is ruled by the planet Venus. And I know there was one more Venus connection. Oh, we pointed out how Tommy Lister, Debo, he was born on June 24th, the 175th day of the year. I think there's a couple more Venus things, but that's the main one, its connection to the magic square. So I think that's it for the post. This is a really big one, and I think it's going to go in my top 10 decodes of the year. I'm going to be doing a big countdown here at the end of December. And, you know, I say this will be in the top 10, but this year has been so insane that I might have to do like a top 20. We'll see. Sounds like a lot of work, but it's what we got to do. So that'll do it for this video, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, whether you're watching live or archived. Everyone's free to like, share, subscribe, and, of course, set that notification bell, as YouTube and the rest of the internet doesn't seem to want you to know a whole lot about what I'm teaching. Can't imagine why. It's a damn shame. All right, guys. Peace, love, God bless. Talk to you next time. See ya!